Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at MX Linux 25.2 Infinity, and I'm just going to read some of these notes here. All releases feature the new 6.12.90 Debian kernel, except for the advanced hardware which comes with the 709 Licorice kernel. And those advanced hardware enabled releases now feature Mesa 2601. All releases include Debian updates through Debian 13.5. And all of those kernels include patches for the meme bugs. Anti-X live system updates. Certain initial setup actions during live boot have been moved out of RC local. Improvements to the live kernel updater application now supports multiple kernels being installed at the same time. MX installer updates, Gazelle installer, bug fixes, especially for some edge case user setups, translation updates, native systemd units for out-of-the-box OEM mode. New text-based mode. When running minstall launcher in a text-based console, a text-based TUI is now available. Ton of MX tool updates, as well as updates to MXE's themes, and even a couple of new wallpapers. Existing users do not need to reinstall. All updates come through the regular update channel. The new optional UC-Tool MX package utilized by the live kernel updater is available for install in the standard repository. So I'm going to download the 25.2 ISO, put it on a USB stick, and I will see you at the install. Alright, we've made it to the installer. This first option here is sysinit. Go with that one if you do not want systemd. If you want systemd, go with the second option. I'm going to go with the first one. Alright, we've made it to the installer. I'm just going to click on Install MX Linux. Make sure your keyboard layout's right. Click Next. Want to use the entire drive. Next. Format and use the entire drive. Start. I don't need a swap partition, so I'm going to untick that. Next. And as you can see, as we're going through this wizard here, it's still installing in the background. That's pretty cool. So MX is fine for the name. I don't need Samba for networking, so I'm going to untick that, hit next. Change time zone. I want the AM PM format, next. All right, we'll go ahead and create our username. Super secret password. Next. Automatically restart when the install is done, that's fine. And then we'll just wait for this to finish up here. All right, install successful. The system will restart in 1 second. Okay. Go ahead and let it reboot. All right, so we made it to the login screen. Just gonna go ahead and log in here. And you can see we're greeted with this MX Welcome MX 25.2 Infinity screen. You got your FAQ, your user manual, your wiki, different tools, tweaks, the forums, videos, contribute, popular apps, and tour. I'm going to close that. And since this is the first login, I'm going to go over here to this little, looks like a box that's open at the top. I'm going to click on that, put in our password, and we're just going to check for updates. By clicking reload, that refreshed the repo. Now I'm going to click on mark all upgrades, mark, and then apply. And then apply again. And that's going to go out, get all the updates for us, and install them. And while this is installing, you'll see we've got 6.12 as the kernel. If we were to get the advanced hardware support, the AHS version, we would get a lot newer kernel here. I believe we'd get all the way up to 6.19. All right, changes applied successfully. Applied all changes. You can close this window now. Okay, go ahead and close. What I'm going to do now is give it a reboot, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, we made it back from the restart. Let's go ahead and do a Fastfetch. You can see we're running Linux kernel 6.12.90. A little over 2,000 Debian packages. The shell is bash 5.2.37. The desktop environment is Xfce version 4.20. Window manager is XFWM4. And that's running on X11. We are running the Xfce terminal. Sitting here idle, I'm using about 945 megs out of my 8 allocated on the RAM. No swap partition. And the base install is just over 8 gigs out of the 40 that I've allocated to this VM. Okay, let's do an HTOP. And HTOP, you can see the CPU's between 1 to 3%, and the memory being used is about 700 meg out of our 8 gigs. I'll just Control C out of that, and let's do a BTOP now. BTOP's not installed by default, so we'll go ahead and get that. And this shows us our processor, memory, our disk usage, the processes that are running, as well as our network. All right, let's take a look at the system monitor. It's called Task Manager here. We'll expand that out and give it a second to load since we just launched it. Our CPU is 1, 2, 3%. We have 250 processes running. The memory is sitting at about 945 out of our 8. And also, while you're in this Task Manager, if you have a process that's kind of ran away with your RAM or your CPU, you can always go in, right-click that, and terminate it here. And that's the system monitor called Task Manager in MX Linux. All right, now I'm going to show you how to install software. So just click on your Super MX Package Installer. And we'll just install something easy, something like GIMP. Just tick the box next to it, install, put in your password. Following packages were selected. That's fine, press OK. Just some dependencies there. Okay, process finished, press OK on that and you just close. And then you come back to Super and you can type in GIMP. And this software here is for making graphics, or if you need to touch up an image, you could come in here and act like Bob Ross. All right, let's take a look at the system tray. So over on the left, you'll see we've got our taskbar. It's not, typically it'll be on the bottom or on the top. If it's on the top, typically you'll have a dock at the bottom, but with MX Linux, it's on the left. So this is our Super. We've got our workspaces. Go up further, you hover over that, it says computer. If you click on it, you can see you can enable presentation mode, and you've got settings, which is a power manager. That's why you got the battery icon there. And then anything that you've got mounted above that, you can unmount that. The box is the software manager, you can perform upgrades. Right above that's Clipman. If you click on that, you can see your clipboard history. Above that, you got your network. Above that, you've got your sound. And then you come all the way to the top, you've got your file manager, which is Thunar, your browser, which is Firefox. You hover over your clock and it'll give you the date. And then right above that, you've got your logout menu. You can log out, restart, shut down, suspend, switch user. Okay, now let's take a look at MX Tools. Within MX Tools, you have a wide variety of system tools that you can use. So for instance, Live USB Maker. If you didn't want to use the Fedora Media Writer, you could just use the MX Live Maker. Snapshot for taking backups. Come in here and you can change where you want your snapshot location to go. You can name it. You can change the directory if you wanted to. Maintenance, you got your service manager. Then here you need to be careful. You need to know what you're doing. Obviously coming in here and disabling Bluetooth. If you've got a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard, if you come in here and disable that, you just locked yourself out of your system, right? You have to run and find you a USB mouse and keyboard, I guess, to re-enable that. But yeah, it is nice for someone that does know what they're doing. It is nice to come in here and just fine tune what you want running in the background and what you don't. Boot repair. If for whatever reason Grub gets corrupted, you can come in here. You can reinstall, repair, regenerate your init RAM FS, back up your master boot record, restore it. Pretty cool utility. Job scheduler. So these are cron jobs. If you have scripts that you want to schedule to run at a certain time, you can come in here and do that. User manager. Come in here and create a new user. So let's say you want your standard user to not have root privileges, but you want to come in here and create a second one that does. So like think of you're the parent and then you've got kids that want to use the same computer. This could come in handy for that. Samba config, this is more of sharing files across the network. Disk manager, that's going to be your hard drive with all your partitions that are going to be shown. Disk Manager is very similar to gparted, if you've ever messed with that, installing Linux. chroot rescue scan, this needs to be on a USB drive, so let's say you couldn't get into your system for whatever reason, you could boot up into MX Linux, run this rescue scan to scan and repair your grub, or maybe it's a partition on the hard drive that needs to be repaired. Cleanup, this is just gonna keep things nice and tidy. So your apt cache will get cleared out. It cleans folders, cache, thumbnails, and you can say if they haven't been accessed for, and then you can specify the days. Delete old logs, empty your trash. Just a cool utility for keeping your hard drive cleaned up. Boot options. This is direct access to your grub menu. So you know the grub menu on boot. If you don't want it to display for 5 seconds, you can change that down to something lower, like maybe 3. If you have a theme that you want to use, you can also drop that in here, and then you can preview it. And here's all the different options you've got baked in. You can change the colors of your folders, user installed packages, and Conky, that's this widget on the right side over here. You can go in there and modify that. Date and time, system sounds, network assistant, keyboard. If you've got an NVIDIA card, you can come in here and install the driver for that. Your local settings, select your sound. The welcome menu that we first saw when we first booted up. Change your brightness. Make some tweaks. We'll go into that one. So you can change your panel over here on the left side. Change the entire theme. Let's see what MX Matcha Dark looks like. Yeah, we'll stick with that one. Got your compositor settings, display settings, Xfce, super key, miscellaneous. Let's close out of that. About MX Linux, let's go into that one and see what we've got here. We're running MX 25.2, Debian version 13.5, which is the latest. Desktop Xfce 4.20.1, and it's supported until August of 2028. And then we've got a system report underneath that. Scroll down a little bit further. These are system-wide configurations that you could go in here and modify if you needed to. Utilities, quick system info, and format USB. You go under quick system info, it gives you more details here. And that's MX Tools. This is very awesome. Not every distro has anything like this, much less to this extent. So the MX Linux team gets a 10 out of 10 for including this in their distribution. Very awesome. All right, and under appearance, we'll just right click, go to desktop settings, and then I'll move this over to the side. And this is all the wallpapers that it comes with. There's the default. That's kind of cool. I love the mountains on that one. That's cool if you like blue. There's a lake. Dog. It looks like some Xfce wallpapers. Alright, so I'm going to scroll back up here and we'll use this one for the rest of the video. Alright, let's go out here and see if the Toolbox will work with MX Linux 25.2. So I'm just going to go to github.com, the Linux IT guy. Press enter on that. And there's the Toolbox. And this is what it's going to look like. It's basically a application installer, and it supports Arch, Debian, and Fedora. This being MX Linux is based on Debian, so let's see if it's actually going to work. I have not tested this prior to making the video, so we're about to find out here. So I'm going to scroll down, go to the prereqs, and I just want the Debian prereqs here. I'm going to bring up the terminal, paste that in, put in our password. We'll scroll back up, and I just want this piece here. Bring our terminal back open. Paste that in. Press enter on that. Okay. So it is running. Let's go ahead and expand that out so everything's not smushed. All right, so let's say we wanted the Brave browser and we wanted to get rid of Firefox, right? Let me close out of Firefox. So I've got Brave selected under install. Go to remove. We'll select Firefox, and that is the native version of Firefox. We're installing the Flatpak version of Brave. So in one go, let's go in here, run the selected, put in our password, let that run. Okay, and down here at the bottom, you can see that it ran and it says all tasks finished, right? And if you look, we've got a gear icon where Firefox used to be. If you'll notice, if you run this on an Arch-based distro, we've got Debian highlighted right now. It'll actually highlight Arch. If you're in Fedora, same thing, but we're on MX Linux, so it's based on Debian. Also, down here in the bottom left, it shows you your package manager, which is apt. We'll go ahead and close out of this. And we can close our terminal. And let's click on Super. And let's go to Internet. And you can see Firefox is gone, and now we have Brave. So I'll go ahead and launch that. And we'll set it as our default. Go dark. Uncheck the telemetry and finish. All right, and let's say we wanted to add Brave to our panel here. What we do is go to Super, back to Internet, where Brave lives, and then right click on the Brave icon there and say add to panel. And you can see it added it to the bottom here. And then we'll go to panel, panel preferences. And then under items, select Brave and drag it up here to underneath clock. And then we can just close that. And we don't need Firefox anymore. You can right click and close that. And now we've got our Brave browser installed and Firefox uninstalled. So who is MX Linux for? MX Linux is perfect for users who want a stable, no-nonsense Debian-based desktop without sacrificing flexibility. Great for older hardware, or you're just tired of your distro breaking after updates. With Xfce, KDE, and Fluxbox options, plus handy MX tools that make the system management dead simple, it's one of the most approachable distros that there is, for both Linux newcomers and veterans who want things to work. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Here are some other videos you might enjoy as well. This has been Chris, the Linux IT guy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.